look at the aftermath of Actman's channel. Now, I feel like YouTube has been farming L's. Like, the Corey shit, the Gideon shit, the fucking Actman shit. Like, it's just been farming L's. So we'll see what's going to happen. Here we go. It's recorded July 27th. Cannot be sure my channel will remain in good health after uploading this. However, I rebel against the notion that I must live in constant fear of what I say and do on this platform. Yeah, I mean, like, if you're constantly worried, what the fuck is the point of making videos? You can't express yourself.
What's up, everybody? This is the Actman here, and this is like the 5th or 6th time I've tried writing/recording this video.
Yeah, I'd be pissed
a video
too.
Talking about my channel's demonetization, the aftermath of that, and everything that has happened.
Yeah.
Every time I've sat down to write or record a video about it, I get to the point where I'm like, I don't know if this is safe for me to say. I don't know if this will negatively impact my channel in the future or if further action will be taken against me. However, I don't want to live my life as a content creator in constant fear of what I'm allowed and not allowed to do. So this is the video. This is it. Welcome.
Here we go.
Greetings. Nice to meet you.
Hi.
I'm the Actman. My channel
Hi.
was demonetized over a month ago. Quite a sticky situation that was. Now, first off, I want to say thank you to everyone who voiced their support for me, who disagreed with this decision and voiced their disagreement responsibly. People that complained ethically, you know what I mean? That didn't resort to personal attacks or anything like that.
Yeah, I would say so. I mean, pretty much everybody was on his side. I didn't see anybody. Like DJ Wheat was like he was mad that Actman said what he said about like, the YouTube employees. And I will even say, like, that was bad. He shouldn't have said that. He knows he shouldn't have said that. DJ Wheat was right in that regard, and okay, that's fine. Like, you can say, like, that was definitely, like, a bad decision. But other than that, I feel like everybody was completely on his side.
I had such a massive amount of support.
Yeah, it got Ethan and Keemstar to agree on something. I mean, I think that just alone deserves fucking attention from YouTube right there.
Fellow content creators, a bunch of people I'd always looked up to, talked about the issue. Far too many to name, and even more creators learned about me because of this. And a lot of people were on my side. And I appreciate that. And I also want to say that I'm grateful to YouTube for reversing their decision to demonetize my channel. I feel that what separates men from boys is not the mistakes you make, but how you handle them.
Yeah.
I think it's much easier to try and pretend like you didn't make a mistake and try to save face than it is to face the music and admit that maybe something.
Like the thing is, like, in my mind, like, I view it as like two different things. Like, yeah, Actman messed up with like saying what he said about the YouTube employees, even though it was obviously a joke. You know, like, they literally had somebody go to the office and try to shoot people there. So, like, I can get why they would be super fucking careful about that. I think anybody would think the exact same thing, and I would assume that they probably have some degree of like accountability, like legal accountability, that they have to take action against people that say something like that, because if they don't, if anything happens in the future and they get sued, they can use them, YouTube, Google, not taking action against it as evidence of not malicious intent, as evidence of negligence. So, like, they kind of have to do this. And so I think it was fine if they demonetized him for a month or something like that because of that. Totally fucking fine. But I think that problem exists independently of Quantum TV. You see what I'm saying? Like, Actman doing that, bad, doesn't change anything about Quantum TV.
Happened that shouldn't have happened. That requires strength and confidence, and a willingness to be better. So my channel was demonetized. The first question, why? The reason I was given is because of tweets I made threatening to dox and harass the family members of YouTube employees and other content creators. In other news, there seems to be a virus spreading that makes people look at everything 100% literally. The tweets I made were satirical. They were clearly satirical, meant to be a joke about a situation. Like, there's no debate. I made it painfully obvious for you and everyone so that something like this wouldn't happen. But
yeah, I mean, I think obviously it was a joke. Any reasonable person knows that it was a joke. YouTube probably still has to take action on it because of some sort of probable legal requirements or something like that. I think that's really the truth. They probably have to legally take action about it. It's like I was talking about, remember the Narcissa Wright thing where she got banned and then unbanned and then rebanned? I think the reban was because of the legal fucking department saying, like, listen, we don't want to have this as evidence in the next negligence case that we have in 5 years, so you've got to keep this person banned. And I think the same thing happened with Actman. It's understandable, but of course it is also completely disconnected from reality. It's an unfortunate truth.
A small population of people who, like, genuinely think I planned on making a video series called Doxing Adventures with Actman. I hope it comes as no surprise to those people with functioning prefrontal cortexes, but I never had any intention to make such a series.
Oh, okay. Oh, never mind.
Shocking, I know. So what was the point of those tweets? What was the joke? Well, the joke was, here's an instance of a content creator that has openly admitted to harassing the family members of a content creator and posting that content on his YouTube channel and making money off of it. This has been brought to YouTube's attention, and they have decided that this action does not violate any of the community guidelines, and therefore no action will be taken against it. This is an undisputed fact. That was YouTube's decision. And so
I don't know how this happens. Like, I really think that, like, all this drama, like, it's like the same thing, like, with Corey, and this is Actman's situation is, like, one of the big reasons why I wanted to look a little bit more under the surface with, like, people saying, like, YouTube's racist. It's like, well, what is it really, right? Because Actman's white, Quantum was black. So, like, either there's two different kinds of racists that work at YouTube, or there's something else going on here that's a lot bigger. And I think that it's just crazy that it is still astonishing that the Quantum TV thing went down like it did. It is so crazy that happened.
I was making fun of the fact that here's a guy who's openly admitting to harassing someone else's family, and YouTube has seen it, and they say, that's okay. So it's like, okay, what would be the most absurd type of content to produce around harassing people's families, since apparently it is okay now? Well, doxing and harassing YouTube employees' families and other content creators' families. Little did I realize the satire would become reality when YouTube decided that joking about doxing is far more serious than actual doxing. I brought to YouTube's attention the fact that this creator had posted the phone numbers of other creators on his community page, and I gave them screenshots.
How does this happen? I just... That's nuts! How does this fucking happen? Like, can we trade Gideon for Quantum? Can we just do, like, a fucking Full Metal Alchemist equivalent exchange? Let's get rid of him and have somebody who actually makes content on the platform again. Please? This is insane.
I provided them with the person who was doxxed, who could testify on their own behalf about it, and I have heard nothing back on that matter. Now, some people have said, well, Actman, what this other content creator did to your family wasn't doxing, and I guess by a literal definition, you are correct. However, I labeled it doxing because it just seemed like the simplest explanation, like looking up someone's mom's address and phone number and contacting them and saying, hey, make your 27-year-old son stop harassing me. It's like,
your son is causing trouble for me, and that's the whole reason for this call to begin with.
you know, and then encouraging your audience to look up that same information.
I promise you, if you look into the Actman right now, you will find his full legal name. You'll find, just type Actman. Look for Actman's real name. Like, actually try to find people, you will find it. It's not hard.
Like, is that...
How is it possible that all of this shit happened and that guy is just completely okay? Like, is it... What's this here? If you are pushing a racist agenda, wouldn't you keep the crazy black guy on your platform to get rid of the others so people only see the crazy black guy and not the others? Oh, to like kind of like say like, oh, well, for like the plausible deniability. So it's like fucking like 3 different layers of like grand wizards that are sitting there trying to plan out how to do this. I don't know. Yeah, it's just nuts, man. Stretching, really reaching? If I were like Nazi shit, yeah. It's just, and that's the thing, right? Is like everybody starts writing their own fan fiction about this stuff because the reality just doesn't make any sense. And people have like this fucking, they have to make sense out of the world and they just can't do it with this situation. They're like, I don't understand. How is this even possible?
Not doxing to say, hey, here's how you can look up this guy's address and phone number and do the same thing I did. It's not hard. I feel like that's doxing, but maybe it's incitement to dox, which is still terrible. The point is, my family was harassed by another content creator who openly admitted to harassing my family members and inciting his fans to do the same. This was brought to YouTube's attention. He posted the evidence himself, and YouTube decided that this was not against the community guidelines. So now the question that we all have to ask, and we all deserve an answer to, is it okay to harass the family members of other content creators? I don't think that's an unreasonable question to ask. So my channel was officially demonetized because of these tweets. There's quite a few problems with this. The first being that they were only up for 4 hours, and I was kindly and respectfully asked if I would delete them through my partner manager at YouTube. The tweets were up for 4 hours, man. Yeah. And at the first...
as I said before, I can respect their decision to demonetize him under the grounds of legal culpability, right? Like, they are probably legally obligated to take action against something like that in order to make themselves less liable for any sort of negligence case in the future. You see what I'm saying? Like, I think that's why. What about Quantum? Quantum's not an employee, so they're not bound by the same obligation. Do you understand? So, like, if Quantum gets harassed or something bad happens to him, YouTube doesn't give a fuck. Why do they care? That's what the difference is.
First opportunity, when YouTube asked me if I could delete them, I did. Yeah. That was a gesture of good faith. Yeah, I don't want anybody there to feel like they're actually under threat of being doxxed or their families. A simple 5-minute conversation could have cleared this up instantly without the need.
Yeah, I think so too. Absolutely. Somebody says that seems like a big assumption. All right, so for you guys, what do you guys think? Do you think I'm on point with this? That YouTube probably did this because of a legal requirement to limit liability in the future? Like, I feel like I'm 100% on point with this. I have no idea. I mean, that would make sense. Yeah, that would absolutely make sense. I can't see why else they would do it. Well, they probably got pissed off. I mean, they could just get pissed off, sure. But I think that's a huge good reason. Yeah, maybe that and to set a precedent. They don't give a fuck about employees or content creators. I feel like the company only moves because of legal consequences. Well, that's exactly it. Yeah, I think so. I think they're just ignorant with a lot of their decisions. I think that they are, but I think in decisions that could put the company at financial legal risk, they are not ignorant of those situations. Absolutely not. And the reason why they didn't act on Actman's behalf or Quantum's behalf is because those people are not employees and they're not required to, like Google and YouTube are not responsible for their well-being in the same way that they are for an employee, because they are independent contractors.
Need for such drastic action. You know how easy it would have been? Hey, Actman, I work at YouTube. I'm just wondering, do you actually intend on making the video series Doxing Adventures with Actman? To which I would have responded, no. Here's a definition of satire.
Yeah, exactly. And somebody said in chat, why then demonetize and not suspend them? Like, why not have an even harsher punishment? Because I think that all they needed to do was show that they took action. I think that they knew it was a joke, but they had to take action, so they went with something that was less intense. They're like, we have to do something about this, but we know you're fucking around, so we're just gonna do this because, you know, we have to do something. That's probably why.
Because I don't know if there's some kind of language barrier, if certain people at YouTube don't understand what satire is, or maybe they're from a different country and don't understand the concept. I don't know how the joke went over so many people's heads to where the gut reaction was demonetize his whole channel. Let's take his livelihood away from him. Satire, if you're curious, is like over-exaggerated commentary. It's jokes made to illustrate a point. You can check out South Park if you're interested in satire. Political satire is a thing. I highly encourage anybody.
I mean, I would say, like, for example, if that, like, I mean, I think a good parallel, if you want to use the political satire, was it Kathy Griffin, who had, like, the decapitated head of Donald Trump, and she still got canned for that, even though she was like, oh, that's satire, I don't really mean that. So I think that there actually are a lot of other examples where, like, something being satire is not necessarily a complete immunity card, but I think it also should be taken into consideration in common sense. Yeah, you don't make bomb jokes at the airport. It's that kind of stuff. You shouldn't do satire. It's basically sarcasm people take literally. I think that it's not that big of a deal. As I said before, I think that YouTube, in terms of the Actman getting demonetized and all that, it is completely understandable. It's kind of dumb, but given all the circumstances at play, I think that it's pretty much fair. That's what I would say. Yeah, you can't hope it's satire. Yeah, it became okay to joke around with that things. It's like it becomes hard to regulate if you can just like, yeah. It's like, for example, like there's a lot of things that I can't joke around with, even if it's satire on stream, right? With like killing somebody, with like certain times of like extreme opinions or anything like that. So there's a lot of things that are, even because it's satire, you can't do that. So that's what I would say. I don't think satire is a place in a serious conversation. I do. I do. I don't think satire is fundamentally bad. I like satire.
Confused on the matter of satire to look up definitions and do as much research as humanly possible, especially if those people work at YouTube and have to make decisions on demonetizing a channel based on legitimate threats, and if they have to differentiate between legitimate threats and fucking satire. Yeah. So here's what I don't get. If the tweets were a problem, why was action taken against me after the threat was neutralized? I laid down whatever fake weapons I was carrying and I said, I'm not a threat to you. I don't mean this. Yeah. And then 2 days later, the channel's demonetized anyways.
Talking to the legal team.
It's pretty shitty, right?
Talking to the fucking legal team.
Now, I understand that a ship as large and massive as YouTube, it takes some time to steer, right? There's thousands, if not tens of thousands of people working for essentially the second biggest website in the world. But it just sucks that, like, it takes 2 days to make a terrible decision that could potentially destroy someone's life, and it takes over a month to find out how to reverse that decision. Let's be clear. The first...
Bro, I remember one time... I don't even know if I should say this, I'm just going to say it. So, one time, I'm working late at the IRS, and it's like 2:30 in the morning. Jeff texts me. He's like, bro, do you want to go to Taco Cabana? And I'm like, man, I got to work for 2 more hours because I would work from 4:30 in the afternoon to 4:30 at night if I could get that overtime hours. And so he's like, oh shit, bro, you could be there for 2 more hours. He's like, I don't want to wait that long. Can I just call a bomb threat in and that way you can leave? And I was like sitting in my chair thinking to myself, you fucking idiot. What are you saying? Stop it. Like I'm like, no. Don't fucking say that, right? And I'm like, are you insane? Holy fucking shit. Right? I'm like, am I going to get fired? Is Jeff getting in trouble? Like, is the FBI going to show up at my house? Like, what's going to happen, right? Just like 10 years ago. Nothing came of it, right? Obviously. But I'm going to say, like, that was 10 years ago. Talk about taking a joke. Yeah, he said that over the phone. He texted it.
And only community guideline strike.
And again, Jeff was kidding. He's obviously 100% kidding. But I bet, Officer Smith and Officer James that show up at the house, maybe they don't think it's as funny as Jeff did. They don't think it was quite as funny as Jeff thought that shit was funny.
Ever gotten was over 5 years ago in the feminists and SJWs versus video games video. Now, if I had a chance, I'd go back and I'd rewrite certain parts of it. I'd say things a little bit differently, but overall, like, the video doesn't violate community guidelines.
Yeah, sure.
And at one point, it was hit with a strike, at which point I reached out to a trusted flagger who got the strike removed and the video reinstated. So I've been a clean boy. I shower every day, unlike most gamers. Please don't ostracize me for personal hygiene. I'm still one of you. So
I
given
did shower
my history
today,
of not being a
day
problem, again, it's all the more puzzling why the most extreme action was taken against me. I mean, besides just outright deleting my channel, demonetizing it is the second most extreme action you could have taken.
I think it's probably the third, because you have, like, obviously the deleting the channel is number 2. Number 3 is calling the FBI or the authorities, right? So it's number 3 in my eyes. I think that it was probably the least they could have done in a legal circumstance to remove liability.
Still don't understand it. This is the thing. What scares me is I still don't know the...
So okay, all right. You don't understand. Why did they take issue on this case but not Quantum's case? Because YouTube can't get sued if anything bad happens to Quantum. See, YouTube can't lose money if Quantum does something bad, but YouTube can lose money if they get sued. YouTube doesn't care about Quantum, and they don't care about Actman. But they do care about their own employees, and they don't really care about them in probably a lot of cases. They only care about them in the context of those employees suing the company. That's it. So that's why it all... See, the thing is, it makes... All of it, I think if you look at it through that lens, everything makes sense. That's it.
Exact reason why my channel was demonetized or the Dark Age of YouTube video was taken down and given a strike. I still have no idea. I can only speculate, okay? When you report a video on YouTube, you include a timestamp for YouTube to look over.
Yeah.
Naturally, I assume that makes their job a bit easier as they don't have to track down whatever part the user thinks violates the community guidelines. So when users report a video to YouTube, they include a timestamp.
Yeah.
YouTube does not extend that same courtesy to its users. The Dark Age of YouTube is over 50 minutes long, and it was removed for unwanted sexualization. Okay, fair enough. Where did that occur? What part of the video did that occur? I got no clue. They didn't tell me that at all. I can only assume it was the poorly photoshopped cucumber floating near Mr. TV's mouth. That was considered unwanted sexualization.
Yeah.
But when I looked up unwanted sexualization and researched it, it sounds like it's threats of rape. Like really extreme stuff. Unwanted sexualization does not...
I think that, is it fair for, so this is usually what I look at in terms of a barometer. Is it fair for YouTube to, like, I don't see why they don't just make him take that part out of the video. Like, that seems like a smarter and cleaner way to solve the problem, because it's like, it's like you can look at things, you have to look at things in black and white sometimes whenever you apply rules, but the way that you apply the rules doesn't always have to be in black and white. Does that make sense? So, like, I can see how, for example, if there was like a random girl and a guy kept photoshopping cucumbers into her mouth or other women's mouths and doing different types of Photoshop things that simulate a sex act, would this be something that YouTube should moderate? And I think the answer to that is probably yes. What do you guys think? Do you guys, I mean, I think that's pretty fair. If it makes people uncomfortable and they don't like it. So then what's the difference between that and Quantum? Well, Quantum's a man, you know, it's a gay thing, it's like a joke or whatever. Yes, all of these things do matter, but ultimately it is kind of the same thing, and it is in a lot of ways a reverse the rules situation, unironically. Is that, why is it okay to do that to Quantum, but it's not okay to do that to some other female content creator? I can see that, yes. And again, I think that it's kind of ridiculous because it seems like it obviously wasn't a big deal, and why is Quantum getting so upset about that? Doesn't that kind of like lend some credibility to the fact that he might be homophobic based off of all the other comments that he's made, and he was so intent on making sure that this was removed? What exactly is going on here? I do think that there's a lot more to it. However, I'm just saying that these are the reasons why I think these types of things would have happened, right? It's more of a question of how they could moderate it. Yes, I think that the way it was moderated was bad. They could have just told them, change the thumbnail, change this part in the video, remove this part in the video, you know, we're going to demonetize this video, something like that. Yeah, it's all context, man. Yeah, exactly. Context, a joke about homophobia? Yeah, they're making fun of him for being homophobic. And it's like, again, if YouTube wants to act on that, okay, fine, totally okay. However, I think that it was a disproportionate reaction, given the context.
Not equate to a cucumber floating near someone's mouth. To me, it seems like, and I can't say this for certain, but it seems like someone at YouTube was really, 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 really pissed off at whatever I did. They either took the jokes seriously or intentionally misinterpreted them and gave no quarter. There was no like, hey, are you serious? There was no conversation had. It was just, nope, you're gone. Maybe you'll come back. Who knows? And can you imagine the paranoia that creates? It's like those first few weeks, dude, fucking sucked. My entire concept of life and reality was just flipped upside down.
Yeah, no doubt.
I didn't know if I was going to get my channel back. I didn't know if I was going to keep making YouTube videos, the thing I've been passionately doing and putting so much love and effort into over the past 6 years. I didn't know if that was all just taken away from me in the snap of a finger, just Thanos out of existence because of a satirical joke tweet I deleted 4 hours after it was posted because people who made this decision asked me to.
Yeah, and I think that's definitely fucking true. It's like, imagining YouTube make personal phone calls to creators. Well, you realize that throughout this entire video, we've been watching us 12 minutes into the video, he's mentioned multiple times of personal phone calls he's had with YouTube. Right? I think the problem is internal. The problem is that the content creator, like the people that are the liaisons between YouTube Central and the content creators, those people, there's a disconnect between them and the decision makers. Do you see what I'm saying?
Again, I know that YouTube makes mistakes. They're not always perfect. I love this place. I want to see it be the best place it can be. I want people to have the same opportunities that I had. And that is the reason why I started taking action against the content creator. Mm-hmm. Because I felt like this creator was trying to rob others of those opportunities. This creator had a history of terrible interactions with every other creator he came across. I heard their testimonies. I got their evidence. I asked people. This is a person that really shouldn't be on the platform. This is a person who, my family was not the first family they had harassed, okay?
Yeah. This had happened
likely
before
won't be
in
the
past.
last. My video was not the first that he attempted to falsely copyright strike and take down, which is against the law. And I saw this person as a threat to the YouTube brand and a threat to the YouTube ecosystem.
Oh, he is.
I listened to YouTube's words.
The only solace that you can have in this is that a person who's that unhinged will fly off the handle again, and then in the next time, eventually they will get got. Even if they didn't get got this time, they will eventually get got, because people like this never know when to quit. They'll always keep doing it over and over and over.
On their policies, on making the platform a better place, and I genuinely believed in them. I believed in the creator responsibility.
I actually did too. And if you go back and you watch my original videos about this, I was pretty confident that YouTube, I was absolutely confident that YouTube would have completely removed this. Like, I feel like YouTube would have, like, this is just a matter of time. It is so cut and dried. Like, it's so obvious. Like, of course YouTube's going to do this.
Initiative. And I don't know if I ever should again. I don't know if I should ever stick up for another content creator that is getting false DMCA strikes, because I don't know what that's going to do to my channel. And for the longest time, I felt like trapped because I couldn't focus on real videos. And I realize I'm just ranting. This whole video is just going to be a rant because it's better to be unscripted and just be natural. But, like, I would sit at the computer, I would look at the script, and I would look at my editing software, and I would just think, I want to do anything else. I'd rather be doing anything else right now than editing a video when I don't know if my future is certain. Yeah. And that's crazy. That's crazy for a channel.
I think it's like, just so you know, like, you make plenty of money doing other stuff online. You don't have to just do YouTube videos, and also you can make money with YouTube videos in a lot of other ways. There's always a way, and you know, like, a lot of times I got by, I did well, and I was able to pay for shit that I wanted and do things that I wanted to do. I didn't start working for the IRS until I was like 22, 23, something like that. All the time before that, I didn't have a job, but I still got paid. There's a lot of ways that you can make money. It doesn't just have to be one thing.
With 1.5 million subscribers, with not a single community guidelines or copyright strike to their name, to suddenly find themselves in a position where they're questioning their entire future, their livelihood, their career, the last 7 years of their life dedicated to this job. You understand how that feels? Do you understand why I had this breakdown on Twitter? Why I was so, like, I got COVID. It was my birthday.
Yeah, I think that it's a big thing. Like, and this is, again, like, what the big problem is whenever you have a system and the rules aren't enforced fairly. Like, I think that there's nothing worse than whenever things are not done fairly. And obviously, equal treatment is not always fair treatment. However, I think that the rules should be enforced, and you either have the rules or you don't have the rules. And if you're not going to enforce the rules, there should be a damn good fucking reason for it. And they didn't have anything like that.
Channel got demonetized the day before my birthday. It was the worst birthday I ever had. And that's not a pity party, man. I didn't feel like a birthday. I couldn't even focus. But what hurt more was feeling like I was silenced. That I couldn't talk about this for fear of what might happen or what might not happen.
I'll tell you guys something. I talk about whatever the fuck I want. Like, that's a fact. And people don't like that. But I do it. I just say, I say whatever the fuck I want to say. And I give my opinion about stuff. And I never worry about getting silenced or anything like that. I have, in my mind at least, right, and so far I've been right, I have a pretty good barometer of where the line is. And, like, not to push the line or make a joke about, you know, doxing somebody or killing somebody or something like that. And I think I've done a pretty good job over the years. So I wouldn't worry about getting silenced. I think that it's more about, it's really about being able to think beyond yourself. Like, you have to be able to think beyond what happens to you, and you have to be able to think about how the other person is going to interpret what's happening and how they will react to it. And if you can do that successfully, you can pretty much say whatever you want. Yeah, I mean, that's what I generally think. Platforms don't want Asmongold to start puppets. They want independent, strong, fearless people. Oh, okay. Yeah, I mean, the thing is, I think that a lot of people can say whatever they want. They just can't say it in certain ways, or they can't express certain things. I don't know. I've never had a problem speaking my mind about something as long as I was not encouraging harassment of another person. I've never had that happen.
Well, maybe Actman is criticizing YouTube a little too much. Maybe this is a person we don't want on the platform. Do I speak out against injustice and risk my livelihood, or do I keep my trap shut and hate myself for not speaking about it? It's a tough...
Should always just talk about it. Just always talk about it, and always say something about it. And if you go down, at least you went down swinging. You're able to do what you have to do. What's the point of having your own fucking YouTube channel, building yourself up to this point just to be a fucking slave and a cuck to some fucking TOS that was written by a nerd in California? Fuck that. Fuck that. You say what it is. Most of the time the TOS is right. I agree with the TOS in like 99.9% of circumstances. But I'll be honest, Actman's circumstance is the 0.1%. It is the bullshit percent. It's that one time that it was absolutely, completely, unequivocally, undisputedly, and unfairly mismanaged.
Position to be in. I just hope people at YouTube understand that I'm a real person, that like I put my heart, blood, and soul in my gamer juice into making videos, and this was the first time I genuinely was like, you know what, I feel like this person is a real detriment to the platform, and I'm going to do what I can to prove that. And I thought I did. I think I proved it to a majority of people. This is a person that genuinely believes the world would be better off without gay people. And I feel like that type of hate speech, it goes too far. Consistently wishing death on other people, it goes too far. I'm just trying to get everyone to understand my mindset in all of this. And it's like, there's a lot of questions I have. I would like to know what time...
Yeah, it's a bit much to say that kind of stuff. It's like one thing, it's like there's like a big spectrum of people that are not completely like super positive towards LGBT. There's a massive spectrum of gray, but at the very end of that spectrum is wishing that they get killed in a shooting. You see what I'm saying? That is at like the very fucking end.
Timestamps of the video violated the guidelines. I'd like to go back and fix them. It's an hour-long video.
Yeah.
At least give me that opportunity. Because here's the most important thing. I don't know what lesson I was supposed to have learned from this. Generally speaking, when you get punished by your workplace or your parents, it's because you're meant to learn a lesson about something and about your behavior. I got no idea what the lesson was. Was the lesson?
Well, I think it's obviously like we just can't joke around and at all in any capacity about like threats on the employees. Just like no capping. There's a no capping guideline. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter if you thought that it was okay. Nope. You can't do it. That's the only thing. I feel like that's the only thing that he learned. That's it. And also that YouTube doesn't enforce their TOS.
That, you know, don't make a video and have a cucumber be within 5 meters of your mouth. Was that the lesson? Was the lesson don't make satirical tweets about terrible things that happen to you?
Yeah, that's obviously
I want to know the lesson, YouTube, that you wanted me to take away from all of this. And I just, like, I want to work with you guys to help make the platform better. I see a lot of areas for improvement. That doesn't mean I will ever stop posting videos or that I hate you.
I think it's just
that, like,
too. Yeah.
you say you want to protect smaller creators and you want to empower people and everyone has a voice. I don't want to doubt that.
Yep.
I don't want to doubt your words. I believe those words. And I hope you...
He's right, though. He could have just told him this. Yeah, they could have just messaged, like, listen, bro, like, I know you didn't mean it, but, like, we have a zero tolerance policy. Like, YouTube would have lost nothing if they said that, hey, we have a zero tolerance policy on this. We're going to unmonetize you for now. We'll reevaluate it later on. But for now, we have to take action. This is not an option for us. We just have to take action. And I think that if they had told Actman that, Actman would probably be like, yeah, okay. Okay, yeah, sure. All right, that's fine. He would understand that.
Genuinely do too. Using copyright strikes to silence criticism, to attack users, and to take down legally fair use videos is terrible. And it's something that YouTube should do something about, because the only alternative is legal action, which is most of the times flat out not worth the time, patience.
I don't like No Need for Violence, Monkeypox doing his best. We got Quantum Alt Account in here. Let me ban him.
Money and energy for your standard content creator. So I'm making this video because I knew I had to talk about it at some point. I felt like I've gathered my thoughts. I hope if anybody at YouTube is watching this, I hope you've watched through to the end. Realize that I'm a real person, man. I didn't mean nothing by those tweets. It was simply satire. And to understand how impactful that video getting removed was, it's like that was a month and a half's worth of research and 2 weeks of editing where I was working on it like 8 hours a day. Sometimes I worked 16 hours a day, 20 hours a day on that video, didn't sleep. That video...
Yeah, it's like an obsession. I mean, I could see how that happens. Like, have you guys ever had something like bad happen to you, or like something where you just get like super fucking obsessed with it and you can't like not do it or handle that? No big company's gonna be 100% upfront, 100% upfront. Well, the thing is, like, they don't have to be 100% upfront. All they have to do is say like, hey, listen, we knew it was a joke. We have a zero tolerance policy, though. We can't even tolerate jokes. I hope you'll understand. I think that like. I think that would be fair. I really don't think that they have to be above that. And it's like a lot of times, there are times that a company doesn't have to do something, or like, let's say your boss doesn't have to do something, but everything just goes a lot more smooth if people are respectful and open with each other. They just communicate on a respectful and open way, and there's no problems. You see what I'm saying? Like, there's no need for this. Yes, you don't have to. Just because you don't have to do something doesn't mean that things won't go a lot more easily if you do. It's like people just like it's like they're flexing power. It's like, what do you mean? Like, what's wrong with you? It's weird.
Is my magnum opus. It is the best edited, written video I've ever produced.
I agree.
It was also my best performing video of all time, gathering 1.4 million views in like 4 or 5 days. That's pretty good.
Crazy.
That's pretty good for me. And so to see that momentum, to see that video, all that effort and time, to see it just abruptly cut short, and not only that, but my entire revenue stream cut short because of that, for reasons that have never been fully explained to me, that has the potential to cause a mental breakdown. I'm not a threat to the YouTube.
Oh, I think it does. I think it would affect a lot of people very negatively on a mental level. I've had things like that happen to me too. Like, I didn't really get too stressed out about, like, at the end of every single stream that I did in 2016, the first thing that I did at the end of my stream, before I even jerked off, is I checked my email to see if I got a ban notification. Every fucking stream. And if you watch those streams, you would know that's not all just paranoia. But that's a fact, man. I did that every fucking day.
Brand. In truth, I am one of your greatest allies. I just hope that I don't believe in what makes YouTube great more than YouTube does. I feel like YouTube should have realized they made the wrong mistake when Keemstar and Ethan Klein both agreed for the first time in their lives.
Yeah.
Those two agreed on something.
There it is.
That this was unwarranted. My channel getting demonetized was seen by everyone as completely unnecessary. I hope what happens to me never happens to anybody else. I don't think people should live in fear or feel paranoid about criticizing YouTube because of what might happen to their career. I don't want other creators to feel like their families might be hit in the crossfire because YouTube won't pursue action against people that harass them. I don't want to feel like that. I don't want YouTube to be a place like that, and I will always stick up for what I think is in YouTube's best interest.
Yeah, you should just keep doing that, and if you get demonetized or whatever, just stream on Twitch or do some other shit, do Patreon or whatever. I mean, there's plenty of other ways. You can't just let people like that control you. You do that, you're just going to end up hating your life because you're not living, you're just surviving.
And mine as well. Like I said,
you can't live a life
I'm
that's
not
true
your
to
enemy.
yourself.
I'm one of your biggest supporters.
I think that's fair. Yeah, I think that whole video was pretty fucking fair, man. Any company takes action against employees saying the things about them, like treat YouTube like an honest, well-minded company. Well, I think that there's a lot of people that don't really understand the nuance between what YouTube can do and what YouTube should do. So nobody's saying that YouTube is not allowed to do what they did. Like, obviously they're allowed to do what they did. They did it. We're just disagreeing about doing it. We're saying this is a bad decision to make. You shouldn't have done this, even though you did do it. I don't know. I think that's pretty simple. What's the solution for you? If I was YouTube, what would I have done? I would have completely banned Quantum TV. I would have banned them entirely, and any new account that he made or anything like that, I would instantly ban him, even if he had no strikes at all on the new account. And like maybe he could reappeal that ban throughout the after a year or 2 years of like reform, right? I mean, sure, give somebody a second chance after a while, but not for a very, very long time. And why he did threaten to dox YouTube employees? Because Quantum TV doing bad things exists independently from Ackman doing a bad thing. So like, there's an example, like if two people get in a fight, they can both be charged with assault. You see what I'm saying? Like, it's not just that simple. And so, like, I think that and also, like, if I was YouTube, I probably would have I would have probably told him to remove the tweets. And if a legal team had told me, like, if I was at YouTube and I had my legal team at YouTube tell me, you have to remove that tweet because it could make us liable for future lawsuits of negligence if something bad happens to employees. If they told me that, I would have demonetized this channel. I would have done that. I think anybody in that position would have done that. I think Actman would have done that. And I think that if he hears my reasoning for it, he'll probably agree with me. To be honest with you, I think so. But Actman doing that is completely independent from the Quantum TV situation. YouTube made a rule, no satire, that he did, period in the story. Yeah, I mean, I think that's fair. Right? And Quantum ban, Actman dug a bunch of evidence to prove it. If anything else, he just did extra one. Yeah, I think so too, for sure. And, poor Guido trying to make an honest content. Actman's a legend. I love Actman. I think Actman's great. I brought him on my stream to talk about this whole situation. We covered the whole thing from start to finish. And unfortunately, this seems like probably the last chapter until Quantum TV pops off again. I'm probably another gay person. I think that with a person like that, it's only a matter of time. I'm going to link you guys the video. Actman deserves a lot of support. I think he makes great content, and I 100% support him. So make sure to give him a like, give him a sub, or anything like that. Yeah, he makes great videos. Like you guys might not notice, but we've watched Actman's videos for years now. All right, I mean, like it's been a long fucking time. And let's see here. If YouTube took over, what people then see business laws going beyond the Constitution. Well, I think like really, I mean, you've got to keep in mind, because I know that somebody might say this, like, oh, I thought you said that people should only get banned if they break the law on the platform. And to that, I would say, I'm pretty sure filing a false copyright strike through the platform system is breaking the fucking law. Like, that's a guaranteed breaking the fucking law. Like, it's not even a question. So it's like he literally did that. Like, he hit the he hit the mark that I said is the that's the real test. Somebody breaks the law through the platform. It wasn't technically false though, because he was used in a video. It is technically false because it was not used in the video. Whenever you apply for a copyright strike against somebody, you have to say that you took fair use into context. And he clearly did not do that because all 4 of the tenets of fair use were met in the video that was being reviewed. So that's not true. So you by acknowledging that, you have to have already said that. Like, that's something that like you legally abide by. It's even more difficult because they're on other platforms like YouTube, no competition. Yeah, I think that's what's so problematic about this. Like, for example, like people get mad about like, oh, Apex is bad now, Warzone's bad now. Who cares? Just go play Warzone or Apex or PUBG, right? You just go play another game. The problem with this is like there's only one platform for videos, right? It's pretty much YouTube. That's the only thing there. Lack of competition breeds tyranny. You're right about that. You're absolutely right about that. And really place where everything's most organized in the world. But what do I know? No, it is. I think there should be better control over it as well. If YouTube had taken action against them, they need to do it for other big companies that abuse it too, right? Well, you'd have to prove that they abused it. And I think that most other big companies probably don't send over false copyright strikes. And also, let's assume that they do send over false copyright strikes. So what is your logic? That if YouTube punishes one person for applying false copyright, that they should punish everybody? Well, yeah, I think that's what should happen. I think that filing a false copyright claim is one of the few things that every single content creator on YouTube agrees is a no-no. Like, that is like one of the only things that like the far left, far right video game makeup tutorial, lifestyle vlog, like family YouTuber, cryptocurrency, like TV repair, all of these groups all agree, do not fucking file strikes unless it is a legitimate thing. Everybody fucking agrees on that. It's just like filing a false police report would get you in trouble. Yes, I think so. That's the way that I generally feel about this. Let's see, do I want to watch another one or not? I'm just trying to decide. This is a pretty long one. This will probably be like an hour. That'll be an hour. This one might be a little bit shorter. We'll probably watch this, and I want to play some games after that. Give me a minute. I'll be right back. People defending Quantum. People defend Quantum because they don't like gay people, or they don't like how prevalent gay people are in media, and because Quantum is adjacent to their opinion, they believe he's on their side. Trust me, if you disagreed on Quantum too, he'd be calling your mother and hoping you died as well. He's not on your side. He's a fucking psycho. Be right back. right. Guys, I got banned for asking if you saw a Riot video. Why'd I get banned? Because you kept typing it over and over and you're fucking annoying. You're fucking annoying, that's why. What the hell's wrong with you, man? You think I didn't read that? I did. Submit an appeal, you probably get unbanned. I banned you myself, by the way. I clicked on your name, I banned you. Played Thymesia, not yet to the... Yeah, that's how I know. Don't you fucking spam that stupid shit again. You can post it on my Reddit, not spam me in my chat. Alright, here we go. Spammers get banned. Yeah, like, I fucking hate that cringe-ass shit that people do on Twitch. I hate spam, like, it's fucking annoying. It's like kid shit. If I want to get badgered by a bunch of fucking 12-year-olds, I'll just play Fortnite, okay? Cut it out. That's how social media manipulates you. Here we go.
Nosedive, a real but hyperbolic depiction of social media addiction.
Oh.
Season 3, Episode 1 of Black Mirror follows the story of a woman who wants to keep up with the Joneses. Lacey wants a bigger house, approval from her rich friends, and to be seen as someone of importance. In fact, it's not even by her own volition that she craves these things. It is a side effect of terminal social media use and self-comparison. The set of this episode is stylized with a 1950s suburban aesthetic. It's clean and bright with desaturated pastel colors that makes everything seem a bit too polished. It indicates bliss, a world free of problems, a fake veneer to match everyone's inauthentic self. A social media rating system rules this landscape. It's eerily similar to Uber's 5-star rating system, where both passenger and driver rate each other after a ride. In this case, every social interaction equals a rating. Someone looked at you funny? Low rating. The barista made your cappuccino extra tasty? High rating. Even more dystopian, you rate each other to their face and get immediate feedback based on your actions or their subjective opinion. In this world...
Oh, wow. So, okay, I like that. That's interesting. Yeah, well, I would have a 1-star rating. Can you watch the Andrew Tate final message? I will not watch it today, but if enough people want, I will watch the full Andrew Tate final message video tomorrow or the next day. I don't want to commit to tomorrow. If enough people want it. Anyway, yeah, it's like a social credit score or something like that.
People are constantly judged and categorized based on their ratings.
True.
For example, if you have a high rating, you have access to certain perks like discounts on housing and luxury seating on planes. Things that those lowly...
I will say that they do give those to streamers and stuff like that too. So the funniest thing, like, I love it whenever, do you guys remember who was the guy that did the video about, it was the guy that did the SoCal Killer video, and he did another one about how the CIA was trying to infiltrate MMOs and like how they were trying to do it and like what the plan was behind it. And then at the very end of the video, he's like, yeah, and all this was actually real. It actually happened. I love that shit. It's like the convergence where the reality is stranger than fiction. I love it. I think it's great.
Rated peasants can only dream of. And if you're unfortunate enough to have a low rating...
Oh, they even have, by the way, this is a little bit of a fun fact. I don't think people probably would know this. They actually recently, this is maybe like a year ago, there was a insurance and loan company that was made for, you know, I hate using the word, influencers to get loans and insurance out of. So there is actually a real life company that was made that follows the same paradigm of this episode. It happened last year.
People will pretend not to look at you and be reluctant to give you any attention. There are even social media analytic experts that offer you solutions on how to boost your score that you too can live like the elites.
We just
Anything in the 4s is good, but 4.2 and above is really where you want to be to reap the benefits of high society.
Yeah.
Lacey toes the line of these high rating scores until, you guessed it, she takes a nosedive. A snowball effect of negative social interactions that effectively exiles her from society. In this case, it's the protagonist's worst nightmare.
I mean, that kind of happened to Greek. I mean, that's what's so crazy. It's like, I think about these guys, like, this shit happened to people. Like, it's so crazy whenever you think about, like, what the reality is. Alinity
Arbitrary
too, yeah.
rating system should remind you of the credit score system. If you have a low score, you can't get approved for loans or have access to the resources you would need to even have the same opportunities as people with high scores.
Yeah.
And in the same way, this system is rigged against you. Life events and unlucky circumstances can happen at any moment
Twitter
and throw
dog
you
piles,
off
yeah.
track. These experiences are oftentimes unavoidable and out of your control. For the majority of people, social media is an extension of oneself. If you have a weird social media presence, you fundamentally are weird, right? Green versus blue text bubbles, the amount of likes you get, the amount of followers you have, blue check marks.
I've watched a lot of guys, like, for example, I've watched, like, guys that are, like male self-help gurus type thing, right? I've watched a number of these videos. As soon as I started getting recommended Andrew Tate ones, I've been recommended other ones as well. And these guys itemize a guy's Instagram following and their advice for guys to do things with their Instagram following. They itemize it down in the same way that they do with the Black Mirror stuff. So it's actually like the real shit.
These are all nonsensical components that play into the greater machine of our technological society and how we view others. In typical Black Mirror fashion, this episode portrays an exacerbation of very real consequences of social media addiction and what that means for society.
I just don't think
this
it's that
episode's
exaggerated.
narrative was so influential that it was responsible for the CEO of Instagram to implement hiding likes on their platform. We get a sense of Lacey's socially conditioned trauma when she practices her fake laugh in front of a mirror because she's scared her real laugh is ugly. And throughout this episode, we hear this nightmarish laugh in an attempt to fit in. This theme serves as a constant reminder that Lacey is pretending to be someone that she's not. Lacey longs to be accepted to the in crowd, except
I don't know why there are some people that turn being social in a social environment into some sort of fucking, weird Kafka metamorphosis shit. Like, I act different around other people. Like, I think there's people that, like, they overanalyze social interactions to the point to where they become so distant from common sense that things become crazy. It's like, yeah, I act different around different people. Sure. Like, I sometimes I will, like, I'll look at myself in the mirror and, like, I'll be like, okay, if I look this way, how will I look? I look that way, how will I look? I think that there's, like, the thing is that doing that is not, like, fundamentally bad, but living your life around it is. You see what I'm saying? That's a persona. Yeah, I think it's human nature. And so it's like there has to be, like, there's like some spectrum of this. It's normal behavior. Yeah, exactly. It's like analyzing people, but not like it's like obsessing over it. It's like you obsess over it so much it becomes dehumanizing. And I think this episode is kind of what happens, like whenever that comes full circle.
Not for who she is, rather a version of herself whose shit doesn't stink, prim, proper, and plastic. We see her addiction to social media manifest itself in the phone eats first phenomenon, a practice of taking pictures of your food before you eat it, or not being able to chow down and enjoy your food because you're too worried about taking pictures of it. This stems into a much larger conversation that I would argue is the antidote to the dystopia: presence. Simply being present and being aware of the moment that you're in is the best thing.
I'm trying to think, like, how many times have I taken a picture of my own food? Sometimes, whenever I'm cooking a steak, and the steak's looking real good, and I'm fucking hungry, I'm gonna take a picture of the steak. I'm like, man, I'm gonna remember this steak. This was a good fucking steak, man. Like, I straight up have done that before. And, like, maybe 1 or 2 times whenever I've been out somewhere, if they, like, serve me some crazy shit, I might take a picture of it. But, like, like, doing it, the phone eats first, that's not, bro, like, that's so, oh my God. That is such a good fucking phrase. I love that. Wow, that's good.
You can do for your mental health when it comes to social media.
I have
the
like probably
funniest
10
part about
pictures
this
of different
scene is
steaks
that
I've
she
cooked.
doesn't even like the food.
I swear to
However,
God.
she loves the positive
They all look
attention
the
she
same,
gets from
too.
her post about it. Social media acts as a replacement for personality in shallow people. Go on Instagram and look up the name of your local, overpriced, chuggy bar or nightclub. You'll see what I mean real quick in the tagged pictures. To these people, looking the part is all they need to feel validated.
Yeah, of
Likes,
course.
comments, and engagement feed their fragile egos like a starving beast. Undeniably, there are nuances within social media apps that people are subconsciously aware of, and they allow them to dictate how they act on social media. The clothes that you wear, even the sizes, the food that you eat, the places that you visit, the cars you drive, the job you have, the people you associate with, the followers you have, the show.
I think what's more important than any of that is confidence. I think that, like, you can find a bunch of people that break the mold of every single thing that you should do that are still successful, but the only common variable is that they live an existence that's true to themselves and it's reflected in their content, and people like seeing that. I think that's what matters more than anything. And there's a lot of other people that try to emulate that, but they miss where that's really coming from. They think that it's about the likes, but the people that are doing it, that are successful in some of these circumstances that break the rules, yeah, it's nice to get the likes. It's important. Sure, it's all right, cool. But it's mainly about just doing whatever the fuck they want. It's almost like people that are, it's like people that try to pretend to be alpha, right? Or they try to pretend to be a label.
You watch, the music you listen to. Everything is compartmentalized and consumed by others, and then shit out to form a baseline judgment on you. Even the mattress you sleep on. Which is why today's video is sponsored by Helix.
What?
Helix Sleep makes premium mattresses and bedding customized to fit your needs, conveniently shipped in a box right to your doorstep. But everybody's different, and Helix knows that. That's why they designed a sleep quiz that helps match your unique sleeping preferences with your body type. Based on your different sleeping positions and preferred mattress firmness, they have something for everyone. And if you happen to sleep with a partner or even a pet, you can take the quiz together and find the best compromise for all of you. I prefer a medium mattress feel, and I tend to sleep on my side and stomach, and I'm a giant human, so I went with the king-size Midnight Luxe. You guys know that I've been sleeping on Helix mattresses for well over a year now, and ever since I moved, I had to upgrade from a queen to a king. That's how much I love my Helix mattress. I'm able to fall asleep in a matter of minutes, and I wake up every morning feeling really refreshed. The best part about Helix is that your new mattress comes to you. Gone are the days of going to an old mattress store and having to sit through an annoying...
I had to do this with my dad. I had to do this with my dad. My dad's like, I need to get a new mattress. And I had to buy him, it was like $2,000, it's like $1,000, so $2,000 to get him a new bed and everything.
Sales pitch that takes forever. I even had fun setting up my Helix. It took me just about 5 minutes to carry it up the stairs and watch my new bed spring to life. Helix Sleep also offers free shipping to anyone in the US, and they have a 100-night sleep trial.
Really impressive.
This gives you a little bit over 3 months to completely fall in love with your new mattress. And if you don't, they will come and pick it up for you, no questions asked, and you will get a full refund. Helix mattresses all come with a 10-year warranty, and they offer flexible payment plans and financing options. So a great night's sleep is never that far away. I love my Helix, and I think you would too. If you're...
That's nuts, man. You know, I used to have a bed, and the bed was 100 years old. It was like my mom's great aunt slept on that bed, and then I had it. It was just a mattress, really. And then whenever I was like 13 or 14, maybe 11, I don't remember, 12 or 11, somewhere around there, I got another bed. And I've had that bed since then. I've never changed my bed. I will sleep on that bed for the rest of my life. That's it. I've never even thought about getting a new bed. Yeah, time for a Helix sponsorship. I mean, shit. Like, if I had more room, I'd get one of these and see what it's like. But I just don't have any room in my house. You have no idea what a good feeling it is then? Nah, bro. Like, I used to sleep on a sofa. You know, like those fold-out sofa beds? Like, that was the one that that Charlie showed in his video. Like, I sleep on that shit all the time. It was great.
The need for a new bed, check out Helix. Go to helixsleep.com/Phillion to get up to $200 off your new mattress plus 2 free pillows. And thank you to Helix for sponsoring this video.
Yeah,
these types of socioeconomic ratings are built into our everyday life.
Yeah, they are.
Credit score, programs for people who pay premiums, lofty, comfortable accommodations for those deemed worthy enough, whether it be your social status or money in your...
By the way, a little peek behind the curtain is that this is a lot like the way streamers interact with each other. On a very, very real way.
Bank account. In every aspect of our culture,
not just
people are ranked and
creators.
Organized in an invisible caste
Streamers
system.
ain't special.
Lacey lets her one false idea of what it means to make it dictate every decision in her life. She has to attend her friend's wedding who treated her like shit because Force will be there. And she has to live in the rich neighborhood despite not being able to afford it. She changes her behavior to live in accordance with people she doesn't even like. This means losing any sense of self, down to the way that she laughs and eats. The most primitive, basic human experiences that make you, you. In a world where everyone is competing to be the same, being different is everything. Social comparison works in 3 ways. Upward, lateral, and downward. Upward social comparison is when you rank yourself against other people that you deem are happier or more successful than you.
This is just like the typical high school totem pole. Very simple. Everybody understands that. Because I said, you know, we played Magic at lunch in high school. We were pretty low on the totem pole. But the one thing is that we could think the only people lower than us were the people that played fucking Yu-Gi-Oh! And we could look at them and be like, those guys are, I mean, like, those are some real fucking losers, man. I tell you something. Those guys were fucking losers, man. And, like, it's like the only way you can let you feel just a little bit better about yourself.
The problem with this is that social media is an illusion. It is a highlight reel of someone's life that they want to portray as the real thing. It shouldn't surprise you that researchers have found that upward social comparison has been linked with decreased mood, depression, and a poor self-concept. It's the worst among adolescents, and it's more common with girls. The whole notion sounds self-evident, but nobody really takes it seriously. We see upward social comparison when Lacey idolizes mid to high 4s. She puts on a fake smile and personality and even tries to win them over with gifts. She wants to buy a house she can't afford and assimilate with the aristocrats. In some regards, upward social comparison can motivate an individual to change, except in this dystopia, everyone is fake as fuck, so this aspect of upward social comparison doesn't really apply. After all, it's not like these are stand-up members of society that Lacey wants to emulate. They're pretentious NPCs.
No, exactly. Like, people just try to act the way that people want them to act. And I think that that's what people that are mediocre without confidence do. Because they can't be themselves, because they're not confident in who they really are. And they have nothing really to show for who they are. So they try to put on some fucking fake face and be some bullshit because they think that's the only way people will like them. Yeah, it's a 3.1. Yeah, I mean, come on.
Lateral social comparison is when you rank yourself against people that are on your level. Usually, people associate with peers that are around the same age and share similar interests. We see a demonstration of lateral social comparison when Lacey is in her office gossiping to her coworker about Chester. Despite being a nice guy, he has a low rating based on factors out of his control. Downward social comparison happens when you rank yourself against people who are perceived to be inferior to you. It is a mechanism that is meant to boost your own self-esteem, and
that's why people love watching things like Jerry Springer and Maury. And I think that's why a lot of other people are hate watchers on streams, is that they'll watch somebody who they fucking hate, but they think they're better than that person, and it makes them feel better about themselves. Like, I see this with, like, yeah, Wings of Redemption, DSP, people like that. It's like they can be a complete fucking loser, but they can look at this guy and say, hey, at least I'm not him. Same as rednecks can watch Jerry Springer and say, hey, this guy fucks his sister, what a loser, I only fuck my cousin. It's the exact same thing. People just want to have somebody, it's like remember in like elementary school, whenever there'd be a fat kid in school that would call the other fatter kid fat? That's what it was like.
This episode demonstrates the problem with downward social comparisons. A character is introduced with a rating of 1.4 that used to be a 4.6. She has since renounced her high-class snobby lifestyle for a more raw and real-life experience. She is wiser and more free than Lacey ever hopes to be. Throughout the episode, Lacey also demonstrates a downward social comparison with her brother. She sees him as a deadbeat slob, someone who plays video games all day and doesn't strive to be greater. His score is in the 3s, but he doesn't—
Seems like a 9 to me. Yeah, that seems like a 9. There he is, he's right there. Guy's not too bad.
Doesn't care. He's actually happy. Social media is nothing to him and everything to her. He acts in accordance with his beliefs, whereas she doesn't. Her brother pokes holes in Lacey's upward and downward social comparisons. She is constantly pretending to be something she's not, and using him as a way to feel better about herself. Meanwhile, her brother is just his true self. As a result, we see her cognitive dissonance boil up as her rating continues to nosedive. And all of this comes to a head in the final third act. Lacey's initial plan was to deliver a tone-deaf speech about getting caught up in the little things, like social media, at her childhood best friend or bully's wedding. We learn that Naomi only wanted her there because she was a 4.2. Before nosediving trying to get there, and it would appear humble to the high 4s. Lacey was also eager to dismiss all of the abuse from Naomi over the years because she saw the event from a socially opportunistic perspective. This highlights one's willingness to forget about the negative side of people when you have something to gain. It isn't until Lacey gives an explosive speech at the wedding where she snaps back to reality, metaphorically escaping her mental prison while being thrown into a physical one. Except she's never been more free.
Fuck you!
Fuck you next Wednesday.
Fuck you for Christmas.
It's like Twitch chat. Yeah, that's perfect. It's just like Twitch chat. Yeah, I want to go to prison now. It sounds great. Oh my god. The episode was incredible. Yeah, I like that. I think that I think again, there's a lot of people that do a lot of I would say intellectual masturbation about how bad social media is. I don't think it's as cut and dried as that. I've gotten a lot out of social media over the years, and it's given me a way to keep up with family members and friends that don't live near me. There's a lot of good things about social media, and it can be a nice thing. But as with everything, I think that social media definitely, it's like a magnifying glass on mental disorders. It's like if there's something wrong in your head, social media will make sure that you never forget about it. And it will like always, it's always that the cons outweigh the pros. I don't think so. I think that social media is generally a good thing. I am pro social media. I like social media. However, that doesn't mean that it's always good. There are many cases where it's not good. It's a good thing in moderation. Yeah, I think that it can be a very good thing in moderation. I think that it can be uplifting in many regards. But as with everything, people that are too focused on other people and they're placing in those other people's worlds, I think the truth is that people were doing this, keeping up with the Joneses. Keep in mind, this was like a 60s meme. That shit came out like fucking 100 years ago or something like that. Or 50 or whatever, I don't know how long, 60 years ago. It's not like this is some kind of like a new fucking concept that people had, and it was so resounding then, that's why we're using it now, 60 years later. So the idea that this is something that's manifested by social media is just clearly not true. However, I think social media has exacerbated it with a lot of people. I would say that. Social media itself is fine, doesn't become a replacement of all social interactions for you, end up becoming a tilted view of reality. Yeah, I think so. Social media is only good to promote business, that's it. It depends. Social media makes it worse for many people. I think that I think you can make an extremely compelling and strong argument that social media is not good for people under the ages of 18. Like, I think for a 12-year-old girl, giving her an Instagram account, and I'm not talking about groomers, is a bad idea. I think that is a genuinely bad idea, and it probably creates more problems than it creates positivity. I feel like, yeah, my child get a dumb phone. Yeah, I mean, sure. And it's fucking algorithms that fuck social media. It leads to an unhealthy amount of mindset of under expectations. Exactly, yeah. And what's your opinion on Elon Musk's social media opinion? I'd have to listen to what he said. That's what it was. And generally using social media for friends and family is a good idea. Yeah, I think it's fine too. I think that people paint with too broad of a brush. I think that social media can be uplifting for a lot of people, and they don't have to get the keeping up with the Joneses mindset and everything like that. I think that's very important. But, you know, you have a video like this and you talk about it. It's absolutely a big problem that we have in America, you know? Like, it's a huge problem in the world. I think it's not just in America. It's like everybody in, like, the Western world are like this. And my understanding is that it's even worse in places like South Korea, where, like, you know, a lot of girls get, like, plastic surgery whenever they turn a certain age. Their parents even pay for it. It's kind of crazy how just accepted things like that are. But the fact is that there's plenty of other, you know, people in America that do the exact same thing. I think there's a study about underage Instagram accounts having a terrible impact. Yeah, I can see that as being a very big negative. You know, like, and again, this is outside of, like, the weird, like, fucking groomer shit, right? It's just bad on a fundamental level. Because, like, you have, like, I've used this analogy before, right? You have, like, some 12-year-old girl, and, you know, she's not as pretty as she wants to be, and, or maybe she thought she was until she saw people on Instagram, and she doesn't realize that the woman that she's looking at on Instagram had 3 filters, 2 editors, and 5 nose jobs. Because all she sees, and she's 12, she doesn't fucking know any of that. She just sees somebody who looks better than she's ever going to look, and she hates herself now. And I think that happens with guys, too. Absolutely. And don't base your self-image and esteem on social media. Yeah, I think that's very important. I totally agree with that. Yeah, sport girls. Meanwhile, guys our age will spend most of their years alone. Yeah, I mean, that's fine. I think that for girls, like let's be honest here, girls are judged more harshly on their appearance. Like, that's just a fact. I think that if you deny that fact, I will not have a further conversation with you, because you are detached from reality. You are completely detached from reality, and we're not having a real conversation. Yeah, that's what it is. However, it does happen to guys. And I think that the rise of people like Andrew Tate are evidence that it happens to guys. I think Andrew Tate and people like him are a result of that exact thing. And other people around that spectrum, too. For a minute's height, well, I've heard of the 3 6s. 6 inches, 6 figures, and 6 feet tall. You know, I've heard of that a lot. And I think that guys, like, the worst thing about that is 2 out of the 3 they can't control. Should I fail at all 3? I mean, like, well, then it doesn't matter, because there's other things you can be successful in. But, like, for young guys, you know, they just see that, and then they feel like they can't. It's like it's insurmountable. For public, yes, but guys find way more women attractive than girls do for guys. Well, I don't know about that. I have no idea. I can tell you this, right? Is that if you look at the top 100 male streamers and the top 100 female streamers, I think that you would have, and you had the opposite sex rate them, I think that you would probably have higher ratings for the females than the males. And I think that would be true to a substantial degree. Easily happen with guys. Had a woman to work with tell me straight up that none of the Marvel movie stars use steroids, and a guy can get their physique like that if he worked out enough. Yeah, well, I mean, they're stupid, so who cares? Like, I mean, what are they going to talk to you about after that? Like fucking horoscopes and like the Kardashians? Who gives a fuck what they think? They're just stupid. Like, you don't walk down the street, a dog barks at you, you ask yourself what you did wrong. It's a stupid fucking dog. It's barking because it's stupid. Think of some people like that too. It'll help. That's the way I do. On Tinder, guys find 50% of girls attractive and girls only 5%. Yeah, I mean, I would agree with that. I mean, like, that's the trend, right? Is that girls are going to try to date up. Guys usually have to date down. That's a fact. And why is that? Well, it's because a girl can only really be in a serious relationship with one guy. Because she can only be pregnant with, you know, one guy's kid at a time, basically, right? Whereas a guy, it's just, I mean, how much of the population is related to Genghis Khan now? Isn't it like still like 2% of like China or something? I mean, that guy got around. It's open season, yeah, and so it's just again, like a lot of people they view these gender inequalities as a construct of society, but I think that whenever you really look at where they come from, a lot of them make sense. Bro, what? You're stuck in the 40s or something? Women can do whatever the fuck they want. Oh, no, I didn't. Oh, no, they can't. They can't leave the house. Women shouldn't be able to have shoes because then they'd be able to drive, and we can't have that. Yeah, that's totally what I mean, man. Yeah, true, brother. True. Listen, man, if you're gonna go and you're gonna put those words in my mouth, I'll finish the fucking sentence because you're an idiot. Yeah, what do you think? I'm gonna. Is it now my responsibility to disabuse you of your stupid opinion? No, think whatever you want. So yeah, that's the way I see it. That's my goal. Have thousands of me's walking around in the future. Exactly. Any guy that has personal hygiene can get a girlfriend. Facts. There's a lot of ways it can happen. I mean, I don't know. I'm not a fucking relationship expert. My best advice is that if you want to get a girlfriend, treat the girl like a person, not a vending machine for sex. And if you do that, and you care about what she cares about, and you listen to her, and you treat her like a normal person, that's gonna go a pretty long fucking way. Yeah. That's gonna go a real long fucking way. And what's this here? You gotta have a homosexual mindset? Bro, stop that, man. Like, quit being fucking weird. It's like, if the thing is, like, here's the reality, is that, stop, why, I don't know why I get all people like to talk like that all the time in my chat. I don't know why. Anyway, maybe everybody gets them, I just read them more. I don't know, I feel like I get a lot of them. Whatever, it doesn't matter. Point is that a lot of people that go out there and they just act like fucking assholes. Like, I've seen girls' DMs, right? I have friends that are girls. I've seen their DMs. Believe me when I say, if you treat them like a person, you will be in that 5%. That's all you have to do. Yeah, that's all you have to fucking do. It's not complicated, it's not hard. And what's this here? Not wrong, lies. It's not true, it's not true. All right, that's fine. Listen, I am not a particularly attractive guy, but me and Cody used to be hitting up girls. Fucking, we would copy paste messages to these girls, and we would get hits I would say more than 10% of the time. This is 10 years ago. You go ask Cody. He can confirm all this shit. We would do this all the fucking time. 10% was insanely good. That is insanely fucking good. And anybody who does that, like, knows that 10% is massively fucking good. Wish all men could switch for a month. Men and women could switch for a month. I think that would be good. Yeah, if you could just, like, re-roll for, like, a month. Be like, man. Like, I remember thinking that, too. Like, I was like, man, dude, mages have it so easy. Like, it must be so fucking easy being a mage. And then I finally go and I play a mage. And I'm like, man, this shit sucks. I'm gonna go be a warrior again. I think that's what would happen to, like, fucking 95% of guys if they had to be a girl. I'll tell you one thing, man. I feel lucky, and I thank God every day that I was born a man. I'm so glad. I feel like women have to deal with way more bullshit. They have way more things against them, way more problems. I am so happy I was born a man.